Hello everyone, Parallel here and welcome to Blade and Soul. There was just a major announcement posted on the official Blade and Soul website. NCSoft basically announced that they are going to be changing how the weapon upgrade paths work on June 1st. And as of this video, I'm posting this on May 5th, so in a little under a month from now, they're going to be making a change to how the weapon upgrade paths work. Now, I had previously done a PSA video on this topic. That video was actually pretty popular, so I wanted to do this kind of as a follow-up, as this will be affecting how you upgrade your weapons. So, before I jump into the announcement, let me just do a quick recap of what basically changed in the Silverfrost expansion. So basically, when they released level 50 in the Silverfrost expansion, weapon upgrade paths were changed, where you would have a choice of how you wanted to upgrade your weapon. So let me pull up the UI here. So basically, when you upgraded your weapon, you had a choice of whether you wanted to stay with the old level 45 path or go to the new level 50 path. And you can see here right now I'm at True Siren. So basically, when you upgrade, so this is using the old path, the old Siren path. And when you upgrade the weapon, you have a choice where you can say, I can upgrade to Pirate, which is again the old path, or I can choose to upgrade to the Oathbreaker, which is the new level 50 Silverfrost path. This was a really nice change at the time because the way the expansion was released, it was very abrupt and there was not much time to prepare. So this was a good way to make sure nobody got screwed over who was like in the middle of upgrading their weapons. It has allowed you to continue through the old path. So if you were at True Profane, you could still upgrade to Siren, and if you were a Siren, you could still upgrade to Pirate. Or if you wanted to, you had the choice of going to the new path. So you could go from, to Oathbreaker, then to Breeze, and then to Scorpion. So that was actually a very nice change. So they added this whole new thing in where you could choose the path that you wanted. And at the time, the implications of that were that it was generally well agreed that the old path, the Siren Pirate path, was still a lot cheaper. In particular because of the cost of the new transformation stones. So the old Moonwater transformation stones were pretty cheap at that time. And the new Silverfrost transformation stones were incredibly expensive and honestly still are very expensive. So it was very nice to be allowed to use the old upgrade path and save a lot of money and making the upgrades a lot easier and allowed you to go through that way. But that is now going to be changing. So let me go ahead and pull up the announcement here. Just give me a moment while I tab over and bring up, hopefully you can see this here. This is the actual announcement on the official website. So I will go ahead and read it here. All right, so it says a heads up on a few progression changes coming to Blade and Soul. Over the last few months, we've been collecting your feedback on weapon upgrade paths and costs, as well as looking at how well players are progressing. With those things in mind, we wanted to share some changes coming to the game over the next few weeks. All right, so the weapon upgrade path. So what they're going to be doing here, so let me just read it here verbatim, and then we can discuss and talk about what the actual implications are. So currently we have two paths players can take while upgrading their weapons, which is described as the Moonwater path and the Silverfrost path, named after the areas where you collect the materials for your weapon. So on June 1st, the final tier of Moonwater Plains, so Siren and Pirate weapon paths, will be retired, and any weapons on those paths will be diverted to the Silverfrost Mountain path at the next applicable evolution. So I'll discuss that. But so to clarify, True Profane will now only be able to progress to Oathbreaker, and True Siren will go right to True Oathbreaker, and then True Pirate will go to Breeze. Now, part of the reason for our timing of this change is that there's an upcoming in-game event that you'll be able to reduce your upgrade costs with a new item called the Nebula Weapon Upgrade Stone. These stones can be used in place of the evolution weapon to reduce the amount of materials and gold required for the weapon upgrades, and they can reduce your upgrade costs by 10 to 40%. and there'll be an official announcement for the event with further details in the coming weeks. To give you some more background on this decision, the original Korean version of Blade and Soul, these weapon paths were retired at the release of the expansion, and I'm so glad they didn't do that because that really would have screwed over a lot of people. So when we looked at the average player progression at the time of Silver Frost was going out, we made the decision to give players the option on how to progress and to keep the old path. While Pirate and Siren are considered to be generally cheaper routes to take, yes, by far, it requires continuous farming of lower level dungeons to obtain necessary materials. We think the player experience would be better served by being able to play in the new Silver Frost content while also removing some of the weapon upgrade path complexity and short-term upgrade costs. With the weapon upgrade discounts provided by the Nebula Weapon Upgrade Stone in the upcoming in-game event, we think this is a great time to retire the old paths, help everyone upgrade faster, and get players into more of the content they want to be playing. If you have been collecting pirate emblems and other upgrade materials for Moonwater Plain weapon path, you have until June 1st to choose that path. Whew, all right, so that's a lot. Let me go ahead and just go back to the game here. All right, there we go. So that's a lot of information, but it is pretty important. Basically what they're saying is you'll no longer have a choice. Siren and Pirate will be gone, and you'll have to go right to Oathbreaker and Breeze. Now, there is actually a Reddit thread on the Blade and Soul Reddit. I recommend you go check that out. There was actually a NCSoft employee, Babeltron, who was posting in that thread, and there was some good information there. They did talk a little bit about that upcoming event that they mentioned and those Nebula upgrade stones. So I definitely recommend you check out that Reddit thread for a little bit more information on that. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the implications of this and just what my impressions are. And in particular, I understand the reason behind this. Reading the official post, it makes a lot of sense why they're doing this. They want people to go to the level 50 content and not be forced to farm the 45 stuff. That makes sense. And it's kind of funny because I'm at that stage right now, honestly. I'm a pretty casual player of Blade and Soul. As you can see, I've been playing since release, and I'm only up to True Siren. I'm actually up to the point now where I could afford to go to Pirate. But I'm only up to True Siren, so this is kind of, right here, this will very much be affecting where I am in my upgrade path. And right now I am farming level 45 content. Even though I've been level 50 for a while, I still have been farming level 45 content. So I agree with the goals of this change. That said, I don't necessarily agree with the implementation here. And I'll try to explain why. I think it's good that they're trying to get people to go to the level 50 content and simplify the tree, but here's the thing. Let me run over to the auction house here. There's a lot, even at this point, even after, a month after the expansion's been out, all of the Silver Frost materials are still way, 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 way more expensive than the Moonwater ones. And even if you take into account this event, so this event does sound pretty nice. So you'll be able to get these special Nebula Nebula stones, and that will allow you, significantly reduce the cost to upgrade your weapon. That's nice and all, but even if it's, as it says, it reduces it by 40%, even at that point, it's almost still cheaper to go with the Moonwater path. I mean, you can see right here, I just pulled up the auction house. Moonwater transformation stones are right around just under 4 gold right now. Silver Frost ones are still at almost 13 gold. I mean, basically triple. I mean, you're looking at spending triple the cost for those level of for the Silver Frost upgrades. So even with the discount, it's still going to be a lot more expensive with the Silver Frost path. And that's kind of an issue. So I don't necessarily agree with this implementation. Plus, if you add on to the fact that who knows how long this event is going to be running. So after this event is done, what happens then? If you're like a new player leveling up now and you have to go to the new upgrade path and you're not going to be able to benefit from the event, that's going to be very difficult for you to upgrade. Hitting Profane Well, you'll be able to go from Profane to the first Oathbreaker pretty cheaply because that only takes Moonwater. But after that, it requires Silver Frost, so it'll be very expensive to upgrade after that point. So, like I said, I agree with the goals, but even with this event, I still think this basically means that the upgrades are going to be getting a lot more expensive.
Come again.
And I don't necessarily agree with the fact of taking away the choice, because I mean this works fine. It's already in the game. It works great. You can choose, Awakened Pirate. You can choose to go the new path. It allows the player to choose when they feel comfortable to go to the new materials. When they feel they've progressed enough, they have enough money, and they want to start progressing past Pirate. I just don't see the downside of keeping the current system. So, even though I agree with the general goal that they want to move people to the level 50 content. So, anyway, that is the announcement, everyone. I just wanted to give everyone a little bit of an update there. Just because, this is a pretty major change, and if you are upgrading your weapon, you should be aware that the paths will be changing. And from my side, I would recommend that you try to upgrade to Pirate before June 1st. That way, you won't be affected by this. You'll be able to go, as long as you're upgraded to Pirate, you'll be able to go through your Pirate upgrades up and go straight from there to True Breeze. I still think that's the optimal way to go. Even if you take into account that this event will be giving you those discounts, which is pretty nice, don't get me wrong, but I still think that Pirate will be the general cheaper route. So that would be my recommendation. Try to get to Pirate before June 1st. And just a few notes on this event that's coming up. Just because Babbletron mentioned a few things here in that Reddit thread. A couple good things about this event that I heard. One nice thing is, what it sounds like is that these nebula stones will go like right here where you put your weapon. So you won't have to put in here like a Siren or a Dark Pirate or a Pirate weapon. You just put the nebula stone in here, and will reduce the cost of the upgrade and then also reduce some of the materials. It says between 10 and 40%, so I'm guessing there's some kind of RNG involved there. I'm not quite sure. So it does sound like a good event, and I will, definitely try to take advantage of that while it's running. But I still think that, if you've got the time and the materials now, use this month to upgrade, get yourself up to at least, the minimum Pirate upgrade weapon, and then go from there. And let's hope in the future they actually, at least try to bring some of these upgrades costs down just in general. I mean, just to take a little bit of a hint from other MMOs out there, I know like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV do this a lot. Whenever they release a new tier of gear, the tier below that, the gear below that becomes easier to acquire. So hopefully they'll kind of take that into account here into Blade and Soul as well. Like whenever they released a Scorpion, or maybe when they release the legendary weapons, which have been rumored for a long time. Once they start releasing those, maybe it'd be a good time for them to go back and reduce the cost of these upgrades, these interim level upgrades, which still require a lot of farming to get through, and it would really help a lot of people coming up, especially once they get rid of the the old upgrade, the Moonwater upgrade path. It'd be really helpful to those lower level players to have a cheaper upgrades, at least until they get to a certain point, right? At least until they get to like maybe Breeze or even Scorpion, and then would be back up to normal prices. But anyway, that's just something that I would consider this to help along players, so they won't be hitting that brick wall once they get to the starting to require Silver Frost transformation stones, which would all of a sudden triples your prices of your upgrades. So. All right, so hopefully that was informative. Like I said, go ahead and check out that Reddit thread. I guess I'll put a link to that in the description. Why not? So you'll be able to reference that thread and see the info there. It does sound like a good event coming up on June 1st. So while they will be taking away the upgrade path, the cheaper upgrade path, the event should help at least to mitigate that a little bit. Oh, one other thing they mentioned about that event is that it's not going to be pay to win, apparently. At least that's what they're claiming. In one of the posts from Babbletron, he actually mentioned that it's going to be in order to get those nebula stones, you buy them using an event currency, not N coin, which is good. I think that's a good thing. So you have to participate in the event to get them, and it won't be a pay to win type thing. So good and bad. I mean, the announcement, I understand the reasons of the announcement and I agree with it. I just don't think that the economy is quite to where where they think it is, because the silver frost materials are just still, way more expensive. So I think they might be jumping the gun a little bit on this, even though I agree in the long term it's probably the best approach. All right. Well, hopefully that helped everyone. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. And that is all. Bye for now.